Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're making a Japanese knockback. And all you need for this is a fabric of choice, fabric scissors, pinning needles, stylus chalk or marker, a ruler or measuring tape, and the pattern, of course. Let's get started. This super easy pattern you can make yourself or find thousands on Pinterest. I did shorten the handle length. This new adjusted pattern is linked below and can be downloaded for free. I added 3 extra centimeters in the bottom to create a box-shaped bottom. You'll see what I mean further into the tutorial. Now lay down your fabric on a smooth surface and create 4 layers. I do like to pin my fabric so that it doesn't slip, because this is a satin fabric and it's really slippery when you try to create 4 layers, and so that it doesn't happen, I like to pin it. Now you can see me create the 4 layers by flipping it over once again. Now take your pattern and lay it on top of the 4 layers. You will want to pin it or use some type of weight to put on top of the pattern, so when you trace the pattern it does not slip or move into any direction. And as you can see, I use my heavy fabric scissors here to fixate the pattern, and then I pin it on the corners. Now take some tailor's chalk or some other marker that is suitable for fabric and will be easily erased, and trace the pattern the way I do it. After cutting, take off the paper pattern and spread out the cut fabric on your table. This pattern already includes the seam allowance. If yours didn't, make sure before you cut to add the seam allowance. Now you see I have 4 pattern pieces, 2 for the inside of the bag and 2 for the outside of the bag. Because of the way I folded the fabric, the 2 longer handles for each of the 2 pieces are connected, so you now need to cut them. I do this so the longer and shorter handles can look alike. You should now have these 4 pattern pieces. Lay them like so, right sides up. And align them right sides together like so. Now sew together each handle. Because I use satin fabric and it's quite slippery, I loosely stitch them in place by hand, just like this. I do this for all seams that I'll be sewing. Now let's go over to the sewing machine. Because satin fabric is very prone to fraying, I use a serger that makes things so much easier. But if you don't have a serger, no problem, just use your regular sewing machine with a straight stitch. Now press open the seams. I use a piece of cotton fabric to protect my satin fabric. Now this is what it should look like. So now right sides facing up, you should align both sewn pieces together, so like the inside and outside of the back, by aligning the short handles and the long handles with each other. Make sure to also align each of the seams. Just like that. Now hand stitch the inner circle into place. That is important because the fabric is slippery and also the sides are different lengths. Now take it to your sewing machine and sew the inner circle. For that I'm using my regular sewing machine with a straight stitch and a microtex needle that is suitable for the satin fabric. While sewing around, I make sure to go very slow, especially around the circle part. This clip is just sped up a few times. Once you reach the end, you just back stitch as per usual. You can now remove the hand stitches just by pulling them out, as you don't need them anymore. Since you hand stitch them, they are super easily taken out by just pulling on one side. I always like to check my seams that I've just sewn, so this is what I'm doing here. And as you can see, the seams are perfectly matching. Now iron the seam off the inner circle to make it look way more professional, and also to make it ready for top stitching. Again, I'm putting a piece of cotton over the satin fabric to protect it. I then realized the satin fabric doesn't need to be protected, and so I skipped the cotton piece. Now for top stitching, I go back to my regular sewing machine and top stitch around the same circle I just did. I try to go as close to the edge as possible to make it look very professional. Just go very slow and you'll be good. Especially inside the curve, you need to go slow and like lay the fabric flat again and again, but I think you'll manage. So this is the top stitch now. It looks very neat and just overall a bit more professional than not top stitching. Now we sew almost the rest of the back. For that, you flip it upside down, so right side's facing again. And I like to make sure to flatten out the handle part so I know where this side ends and where it starts. I start by pinning the bottom like this, and then I take a measuring tape and measure around 17 to 18 centimeters from the bottom up and pin it right there. Do the same on the other side. Now, as you can see, we left open the top part, like the handle part of the back on both sides. The short one is open and the longer one is open. That is because we will sew them together in a different way later in the video. Repeat this step for the other side of the back, so like the inside or the outside of the back. So just sew here where it's marked. I want this back to be box shaped on the bottom, so we create some inch wide corners like this. I align the measuring tape with the seam we just sewn and mark by the inch. If you flip the corner like this and sew across, you will create a box shaped bottom. I do this on both sides, so the inside part and the outside part of the back. I also open up the seam allowance, as you can see, so when I sew, it is going to be flat. Repeat the step for all 4 corners. Once sewn, you can snip off the rest of the fabric corner. Now at the part where you left the back open, you flip the back inside out. You can then stuff in the inside of the back into the outside of the back. This is what your bag should look like right now. We now have to close off the remaining open part. For that, you fold in the seam allowance of both the inside and the outside of the back, just like that, and pin it into place. I start with the seams so they will be aligned, as you can see here. It should look like this now, which is going to be the open part of your handle. Now you just top stitch around just like before. Repeat this step for the other handle. Finish off the top stitch and then you're done. you.